explanation would satisfy you.
Wait. I never said there's an explanation that's going to satisfy you.
No, not
I said there is no satisfactory explanation from your perspective when you guys pretend to be so clever.
Okay, but you said it was impossible, correct?
From a naturalistic point of view, yes.
Okay, so can you demonstrate why that's impossible?
Okay, I'll demonstrate not why I think it's impossible, but why philosophers of science like Alex Rosenberg believe it's impossible.
You tell me.
Okay,
because you're throwing out names, but just tell
Okay,
me.
here's
your
why.
version.
Here's why. If I want to survive, because all that they actually have in terms of a worldview, are you paying attention?
Yes, I am. I'm making a note here.
All that they have is survival and reproduction as an explanation for biochemistry, genetics, anatomy, psychology, linguistics. That's all they have. So the problem comes when you try to give an explanation about true and false beliefs. That's one layer of problem. So say that mushrooms. Now some mushrooms are poisonous. Now you can survive on a false belief, which is that all mushrooms are poisonous. You can survive on that belief. So if you can survive on a true belief, and if you can survive on a false belief, how can you make a distinction between the two? You can't. So what the actual fundamental problem from that layer is, how can we say our mind is trustworthy when our mind wasn't geared for truth, but survival?
Okay, so one of the ones that I've heard and is of interest to me that I'm studying is...
Do you understand it, or are you socialized into it?
I'm looking into it.
No, are you socialized or do you understand it?
Socialized means that I've just grown up with it, isn't it?
No. Society is saying, woo, 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 this thing's true, so you say it's true too. It's like sheeps following each other.
Is that what you really think atheists do?
I truly believe 100% that's exactly what they do, and I made that claim that you do that too.
100% of the atheists?
Yes.
Well,
it's a social thing. It's a social thing.
Because people study, like literally, they do have the curiosity to study. They read books, they go...
Sure. So can I tell you one reason why it's totally false? This whole new atheist movement, based on this total nonsensical idea that there's no God. I'll tell you why it's totally false, and they're all sheep. Every single new atheist. I'm not referring to somebody who's confused about God. I'm referring to new atheism. Why they're a bunch of sheep is because of this. The book that they follow, the God delusion, the central argument that they follow in that Bible is a 6-step process, and that's called the central argument. And that central argument, it basically is this. Darwinism gives an explanation of biodiversity, so we don't need a designer to explain that. Therefore, the conclusion that Richard Dawkins, their prophet, makes is their God almost certainly doesn't exist. Now, Charles Darwin himself would have disagreed with that conclusion. This is why neo-atheism is based on a falsehood. Darwin was never an atheist. He was a deist. He believed there was a God, but not a personal God, not Christianity or Islam or anything like that. The last decade of his life, because of the problem of evil, he became an agnostic. But he still said, my beliefs about God fluctuate. Sometimes he's a deist, sometimes he's an agnostic. So this whole movement online that you see, all these videos that you see, all these people that you say, oh, evolution's true, therefore there's no God, or Darwin got it right. Even the founder doesn't agree with that. Plus, Richard Dawkins in an interview, do you know what he said? You've seen with Lawrence Krauss, he said, there's a perception that if you believe in evolution, you have to be an atheist. This perception's false. Because this perception, the perception exists that because evolution is true, therefore there's no God. He says that this perception is wrong. But because this perception exists, that to believe in evolution you have to disbelieve in God, he says all I have to do is prove to people that evolution is true, therefore God doesn't exist. So he is feeding on the ignorance of people.
But that's not 100% of the atheists.
Okay, this is a new atheism. New atheism. I'm not referring to every single Tom, Dick and Harry who's confused about God. I'm referring to new atheism, which I believe Rob is part of.
Well, okay, so I don't.
Are you part of that?
I don't subscribe to that. So no.
Oh, that's great.
So you should ask.
So when you refer to people like Essence of Thought, when you refer to people like Aaron Ra, when you refer to people like Richard Dawkins, they are.
Well, I didn't refer to Richard Dawkins, did I?
Essence of thought.
Jerry Coyne, sorry.
Jerry Coyne.
Okay,
So-
Jerry Coyne is.
Jerry Coyne is what?
He's a new atheist.
Your claim about a new atheist, yeah.
No, he is one.
If you say so, I don't know what he
So
labels
is Aaron
himself.
Ra not one?
You tell me. I don't know.
Okay, so when they
He's
have
just an atheist.
conferences,
What's the difference?
well, it's a new brand. It's an old idea.
By the
it's
way-
an old underwear or whatever. They just cleaned it out and they just want to start wearing it again. It's nothing new. The only difference between the new atheists and the old atheists, like Nietzsche, is this: Nietzsche was honest because he understood, from a naturalistic point of view, words, meanings, actions are all meaningless. This whole universe, just how irrational as it is, if an apple falls off a tree, falls on a tree and cuts in two, it's a rearrangement of atoms. Likewise, if I bludgeon myself with a hammer, there's no difference because it's rearrangement of atoms. That's why neo-atheism is different to old atheism.
Neo-atheism?
The new atheism.
New atheism.
New atheism is different to old atheism because old atheism was at least not hypocritical. They knew there was no meaning of life. They knew there's no such thing as rights, values, morals. These are all social constructs. They knew this. But you guys pretend like you have something when you don't.
That's your assertion.
No, I'm happy to make that assertion. I want to know if you can challenge it.
Tell me which one.
Life is meaningless and it's nothing but the rearrangement of carbon under an atheistic worldview.
Okay, so you mean there's no. So if I reinterpret what you say, if that's okay, you tell me if I'm right or wrong. So if there's no cosmic why, then we're just carbon. The fact that I can give myself my own life meaning, that's not good enough for you. For some reason, there has to be a cosmic why. There has to be a cosmic reason for the universe being the way it is. And if there isn't, then we're just matter.
Okay. I'm not sure if you understand what the problem here is. The problem, as pointed out by Nietzsche, is this. This idea of self, of me, of I, of meaning, of morals, of values are nothing but the products of nature. And if you rerun the wire, in the old days we used to have the VHS tapes, if you go back and rewind time and then you push it forward again, there'll be a completely different set of morals, values and meanings.
Who makes that claim?
This is a claim that Darwin believed in. This is a claim which Steven Pinker believes in. The analogy is taken from another atheist, Stephen Jay Gould, and back in his days in the 80s and 90s we only had VHS. That's why he used the analogy of the tape. He said if you rewind and then play again, you just get a complete different set. Therefore, it's arbitrary.
What is arbitrary?
All meaning, value, all of these things, they're just one outcome of many.
But we can give ourselves, we can give our lives.
No,
each of us
sure,
can give
that
us-
sounds really nice, but Nietzsche would have disagreed with you. He would have said, that's just self-delusion. That's just some kid who is about to get hit by a football and he closes his eyes. He's like, no, it's gone now.
Why would you say that?
No,
Why
why would
is
I
it-
say that? I'm not saying that because I believe in God. I'm saying Nietzsche said that and Nietzsche argued for that, and the reason why he believed in this is he believed Europe is going to go through a crisis of existence in the future. Because it's going to, right now it's in this delusion state, it's coming out of the intoxication of religion, and it has values, meanings, morals, but eventually it's going to realize it's nothing, and that's when it's going to go mad.
Why on earth would you think that?
Nietzsche,
Yeah.
he believed that if there is no God, there is no purpose, there is no objective meaning, all that we are is the rearrangement of carbon, then anything, any action that we take is as meaningful as a leaf dropping from a tree.
That sounds, dare I say it, ridiculous.
Okay, well, look, read Nietzsche's book on Darwinism.
The fact that
It's actually called Nietzsche's Darwinism, published by Oxford. Read that.
Nietzsche's
Darwinism.
Darwin. Okay, and so why should I take that as truth, or why should I pay attention to that? My life and any other atheist or non-believer's life, we can give ourselves.
Okay, so why would you disagree with Nietzsche? Because I gave you why Nietzsche believes what he believes. So if I was Nietzsche and you were here, How would you explain how your worldview is different to mine? Firstly,
Is your worldview as Nietzsche a theistic worldview?
no, he was an atheist.
How was he an atheist?
Of course, he was an atheist.
Right.
Okay. So, how is your worldview different to mine?
So I would say to Nietzsche, well, I can give my life meaning. I can have interactions with people. I can try and find truth. I can go for love, etc., etc. What's wrong with that?
He would say this is just dopamine.
Why would he say that?
Dopamine is a chemical.
No, I know
which-
what dopamine is. Why,
Right.
why would he say
Because
that?
that's what it is.
Why would he say that? What justification is this? In other words,
That's science,
is he claiming,
right? You love science, right?
sure,
So love is a chemical.
partly a chemical, but it's an interaction with the brain, isn't it? And
Right.
you have a chemical here, and you give it a label.
Right,
you
so it's
can-
all chemicals.
No, it's not all chemicals. Well, it is chemicals in a sense. But
Wait,
there's-
hang on a
but
second,
then
hang on a
he's
second,
throwing
hang on a
consciousness
second,
as well,
hang on a second.
because it's not just
Life,
biological chemicals.
life is, this is, look, tell me if I'm wrong, but look, when you say you're an atheist, I'm assuming you believe that biology can be broken down into chemistry, which can be broken down into physics, which can be broken down into maths. Because that's the standard view of the atheist. Thank you for nodding. And I'm guessing you're an atheist. If that is the case, then what's wrong with all of our feelings being just chemicals?
Because
You sound like an upset atheist.
Like a?
Like an upset atheist. You
Upset
don't like
atheist.
the idea that it's all chemicals.
Is consciousness chemicals?
Well, firstly, there's different definitions of consciousness, and it depends whether you believe the hard problem of consciousness exists. So that's a different issue. I don't know if you believe in that.
I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that we have consciousness. Would you agree?
Well, of course.
Consciousness is.
Of course, but it depends what you mean, because according to some people, consciousness is the brain at work. According to other people, consciousness is a part of the universe, panpsychism. According to other people, emergent materialism. Now's the time to bring it in, because actually now we're talking about something correct, in the correct context. So it depends what you actually mean, but from a biochemical point of view, life breaks down to biochemistry from your point of view. Even consciousness, if you're a pure naturalist.
I don't know that it breaks down to biological as a naturalist. I can't say that for sure with consciousness.
Well,
because we don't.
That's
know,
that's what atheism entails, unless you're not an atheist.
I am an atheist,
Okay, so you
But
believe
I'm
you believe in naturalism. Things are natural, correct?
so I'm a methodological naturalist.
You're a methodological naturalist. So am I. I thought you were a philosophical
No, no, no,
naturalist.
no.
So you don't believe everything can be broken down into nature.
I believe that nature or the world around us is what we can investigate. Outside of that, I don't claim, and I never have here at Speaker's Corner, that a god or gods is impossible. I say I don't believe in it, and I reject the theist claim.
So why are you trying to give an explanation of reason, of evolution, of these things naturalistically?
Because that seems to be the most reasonable way. What other explanation am I going to give? Something outside of the universe?
No. The question is this. Whenever you want to use nature, whenever you want to use methodological naturalism, you're going to say, okay, let's try and work out things naturalistically.
Correct.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But your claim is very different, because your claim is atheism. You believe there is not a God.
I believe there's
now,
not a God,
Now,
yes.
with science explains how things work, not why things exist in the first place. That's metaphysics. So when it comes to God is an explanation of why things exist.
Okay, but
Science can explain how things work. So what's your problem with God then?
you want to ask my problem with God?
Yeah.
Okay, so many things. One is, I think it's which God, by the way, before we carry on? Which
Okay,
God?
Darwin's God, deistic God.
Deistic God is less, I've got less of a problem with a deistic God. It still has to overcome a burden of proof for me for existing. But a theistic version of God, and let's use your one, I've got a lot more problems with.
Okay, go ahead.
Sure. So I think your God is irrational, immoral. There's contradictory omni-properties as well.
Okay, wait. Let's go with the first thing you said. Irrational.
Yeah.
You believe it's irrational to believe in God.
No, I didn't say it's irrational to believe in God. I said God, the concept of God.
Okay.
Your concept of God is
now,
irrational.
and it's a good segue, what you just said now, to something that we spoke about half an hour ago, which is this. We spoke about the origin of reason being a problem for atheism, right? You're saying the belief in God is irrational. Let me link these two and tell you something which I want you to challenge. the existence of God is the only explanation for rationality.
Yes, I've heard that.
You've heard that, but do you believe it's true? Do you believe it's wrong?
Okay, so what do you mean by rationality?
Our ability to think, reflect, infer, do science, do maths, use experience, have intuition.
Okay, so and your claim is that the only way we can account for this is through God.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's again where I would go back to emergent materialism or evolutionary reliability.
Okay.
Reliability.
Please,
should I
Rob.
say.
I was a Quaker, and you're going to turn me into a speaker's corner shouting guy again. Do not use terms you don't understand. Origin of reason has nothing to do with emergent materialism.
It has to do
It's
with
consciousness.
Okay, but
It makes you sound
Subhoor,
clever, but it's got nothing to do with this.
Subhoor, stop
Throw it out.
Stop shouting.
Throw it out. I'm a Quaker, and you made me break my biscuit again. When you speak about the origin of reason, it's very clever to use terms that you don't understand. That's fine. But what you need to do is give an explanation, not give a mystery a label.
So you asked for an account of rationality, yes?
Here's my claim. Here's my claim. From an atheistic point of view, there is no explanation for the origin of reason. From a theistic point of view, there is. Not a theistic, a deistic point of view or a theistic point of view, there is.
Okay, and what is that?
So there's two claims I make. So we're not going to speak about the atheistic. We're going to accept that claim.
So your account, or you want me to give an account of rationality, yes?
You've already shown you can't do that, so let's move on to my claim.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. What is rationality based on? What is it based on? What's the foundation of rationality?
Like I told you a few minutes ago, there's a whole bunch of definitions of rationality.
Give me one that you want to talk about.
Where does it actually reside? The ability to reason, the ability to infer.
What is the foundation of that?
What do you mean? What's the foundation?
Is the foundation for that our consciousness, our minds? Can a rock be rationalized? Can an animal rationalize?
Okay, wait 1 second. You keep doing this. You keep talking about things which are irrelevant to the discussion. Why do you bring in consciousness
because
with
I want
reasoning?
to understand what your foundation is.
No,
underneath
what you're doing is
rationality.
this, Rob. You're using terms which make you sound clever, but you don't understand them. How can you say the origin of reason is within consciousness?
Can animals, because you want me to give an account of rationality. Can animals rationalize things?
Okay.
Or is it only humans that can do it?
No, animals can reason too. How on earth? Wait, 1 second. 1 second.
You asked for
how on
rationality.
earth do you think they make these amazing beehives?
Don't jump.
No.
You asked me about rationality. Don't talk about reason and rationality. They're different. You said, how do they reason? I'm asking you rationality. You said to me,
reason and rationality are different. How so?
You asked me about rationality. Yes?
Reason and rationality, how are they different?
Just wait. You asked me about rationality.
Yep.
You said to me, I don't have a foundation. I want to know from you.
Yeah, you have no foundation.
Yes, so I want to understand from you, what is rationality based on? Once we get down to what you believe rationality is based on, now we can have a conversation, because it's a term that's just floating out there. So give me the foundation. Is it based on a conscious mind?
Okay. Let me just take it this way. Not only I'm gonna just to save time, I'm gonna give you the full beans, and if you want to challenge it, you can challenge it. We have, as human beings, certain qualities. One of the main qualities that we actually have is the ability to reason. Now, the ability to reason is the thing which is going to lead you to truth or lead you to falsehood. In the Quran, it says, the worst creatures in the sight of God are those who do not reason. And the people who will be sent to hellfire, which I believe atheists, as it says in Islam, will go to hellfire.
At least you're honest. I appreciate that.
Of course they will.
Because there's some Muslims who say, no, you won't. Or God will make a decision.
Well, I believe anybody who disbelieves in God as a category, they go to hell. But I don't believe a person, you can say, goes to hell. Because I believe even an atheist, if they die, and if God has mercy on them, they may go paradise. I can't say about a person. But as a category, atheists go to hell. Yeah, that's fine. Now, in regards to reasoning, in the Quran it makes it clear, when people will be sent to hellfire, the angels which are sending them to hellfire will ask them, did you not listen? Did you not reason? And they said no. What did they do? And this is what atheists do. Like sheep, they just listen. They just follow. They don't even think for themselves. So that is the reason they're going to go to hell. Now the reason why I, as a Muslim, I believe that reason has the best explanation in God is because of this. God as a concept is all-knowing, and we human beings also have knowledge. God is the one who created us, and He created us for a higher reason, for a higher purpose than survival and reproduction. So the problem, the quagmire that you're in, is that how do you distinguish between false beliefs and true beliefs and both help you survive? But as a Muslim, I'll say that's nonsense. I'll say truth is not a mechanism, truth is not a concept that we derive to help us survive. Truth exists because God is the truth. So from the truth in Arabic, God is called Al-Haq, the truth. So from the truth you get the concept of truth today as human beings. So we can reason, we can use our cognitive abilities because they are a God-given gift. That's a theistic explanation of the origin of reason. But from an atheistic perspective, all you can do is speak about survival and reproduction, which is something which cannot even account for the difference between us choosing whether a mushroom is poisonous or not. Which is why I believe, like I've said many times in our long conversation here, atheists, including yourselves, you do not understand what you're actually talking about, and it's all a social behavioral belief system. Somebody is walking, they see there's a shop which is very busy, they see another shop which is not busy, social proof, they walk towards the crowd where there's more people. This sheepish behavior is exactly what atheists actually do, which is exactly what you are actually doing here in Speaker's Corner. And what I want you to do is this: whether it comes to the origin of reason, whether it comes to Darwinian evolution, whether it comes to the existence of God or the non-existence of God, I want you to just be honest and say, I'm a sheep. I believe because other people believe. It's much more honest for you.
I know.
It's much more honest for you, Rob, to do that than to half pretend, well, I'm sort of reading a book on evolution, but I believe it to be true. I would actually respect you so much more if you did that.
Good. Well,